This is Al Fritsch from earthhealing.info. We are continuing our YouTube series, and we're talking about how to master wheelchair gardening. And we have as a guest, and a master of it, Pat Brunner from Berea, Kentucky. Welcome, Pat.
Welcome to my home and my garden.
And we're sitting in front of your cat whiskers, and I think there's something else there too, which I can't remember.
The crepe myrtle.
The crepe myrtle, and the beautiful crimson crepe myrtle. This is just part of her garden, part of the flowering part. We will move now immediately to see what she does as far as vegetables go, and then we'll return to the flowers later on. We're in part of your garden. I guess it's your potting part. Some of it seems to be platform type, but this is where you're growing some beautiful tomatoes here in middle August. And what kind of tomatoes do you grow there?
I have a variety, but I've lost the little tags. But every year, my daughter for Mother's Day takes me down to a wonderful nursery down in Lancaster, outside of Lancaster. And I try to get some of my old favorites, and then each year I try new ones.
So you like variety in your gardening?
I just do, yeah. And this year my very favorite, and one I will repeat, is a tomato that's called Sun Gold.
Okay.
And we eat a lot of tomatoes. My neighbors, I take them to the hospital in little cups, the tomatoes, because it has a very thin peeling on it. You don't have to peel it. And it, dissolves very quickly. So it's very sweet.
Amazing.
So that's my favorite this year.
Amazing. You not only grow stuff for yourself and your family, but you actually export and give away some of your produce.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So you are a real gardener.
In the nursing home, we have a couple of people we visit, a lot we visit there, but two that just love the tomatoes. And they're easy to manage for somebody that has another handicap.
And it looks like you've got some gourds there, is that right?
Oh yes, they come up everywhere.
There's a certain beauty to them.
Those are volunteers.
And then behind there we're beginning to see some of your beans. Have you been having beans?
Oh, I've frozen 2 good-sized bags of beans.
Is that right?
And we eat beans. We like beans.
Okay. Well, we'll move along then and see some of the rest of your beautiful garden.
Okay. These gourds, I made a mistake one year in my compost, and when I cleaned out some gourds to decorate and to paint, I put the seeds back in my compost. Well, then when I put compost on, every 3 years, I change the soil in these pots because the use of it's very intensive, and so I have my own compost down there. But I learned not to put gourd seeds in my compost. You learn a lot.
And you make your own compost. You make your own compost. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I mean, why waste anything?
Exactly.
I mean, I have a bucket with a tight lid on it in my sunroom where all my kitchen scraps go into that. And then I'll show you down there my compost system.
All right, we'll move on then to another section.
Okra, this is our favorite. You have to know how to cook it. But, and Warren does, so we love our okra. Just in this sort of sauteed. And last year, we have a valley down here below, and we have deer, a white buck and a regular doe. And last year she had triplets, and they thoroughly enjoyed eating the tomato, the young leaves that came out on the tomato. And of all things, my okra leaves. Now, nobody touches my okra. So I cured them. They haven't been back this year. I simply took about a teaspoon of oil and put red hot pepper flakes in it, and I painted the new leaves as they came out with that. They didn't develop. And I also found I put those in with my bird seed so the squirrels didn't eat my bird seed. So I go by red hot pepper cure to losing my leaves.
I thought you were saying that you had some venison for supper.
Okay, these are family beans that have been in my family for we don't know how many years. Evidently they're a mutation. They were found growing among bush beans in a garden years and years ago up in the mountains in North Carolina. We call them buds beans, for lack of a better term, and they grow. They're like beans on steroids. They grow and grow and grow, and they have the long pods, and you pick them 4 at a time. They're right together. It's a white bean and very tender, so we enjoy our buds beans. They freeze well, and we've already put up 2 or 3 packages this year. So we enjoy our beans.
Pat, we see that you have a lot of tomatoes and a lot of beans. Do you grow other things in the springtime or in the autumn?
I don't have an autumn crop. I just got lazy this year because I've got an empty pot or two. I could have put some kale and things like that in. But I had squash this year, but they're gone. They were finished. They came on early and we ate squash, and I didn't replant them. But if I could have. This is catnip because all the neighborhood cats come and wallow in it and enjoy catnip. This is chives here because we enjoy a few chives on baked potatoes and other things. And that's about it. And this again is my okra, and I'm pretty lazy about spraying with 7, although I have some, and if I'm desperate I will, but basically I let the bugs have their due and I have mine.
You're more or less organic and growing. Would I say that, possibly?
You can say that sounds better than that I'm lazy.
Okay, it sweeps around again,
and
we see more tomatoes.
That's just, I get great joy in watching the birds come when those seeds mature. And just feeding the birds, and it's just a happy plant. It's smiling at me.
And that's why you grow the sunflower, both for flowers within the garden and also to attract the birds?
Yeah.
How nice.
This is my fresh compost. You can see that. And now on top of those weeds and cuttings, I will also put some soil. Just anything to hold it down. The thing is you use green, brown, or that's what I've read. This is usable compost. This is what I'm using this year. See? And all of that was like that at one time. You'll have to see how soft and usable. There it goes. Just comes up. It likes the bathtub.
And you,
it's just,
do you use it for any?
I can. The only thing I would use it for is to add color to a salad.
Okay.
And its name again?
Purple basil, B-A-S-I-L. Basil's usually a green.
Mm-hmm.
But it just started coming up, and I said, okay.
Beautiful.
There's the bathtub, use it.
Pat, you do a lot of watering in your garden. You use it 2 different types. You do some of the rain water, am I right? And then you use some city water occasionally.
Oh, very occasionally. Because this year we've had plenty of rain. so I haven't had to water. I think one time I saw somebody looking sort of weepy, needing water, but other than that, the hose attaches to either one of those, and they will reach down there if I need to supplement the water that comes more directly.
Are these rows of Sharon here beside the water barrels?
Yes.
And so you grow those. You do grow flowers in among your vegetables, don't you?
Why, yes.
It's all part of the same, isn't it?
It is.
You are a green thumb. Do you ever talk to your vegetables?
Oh, yes.
You talk to them.
Yeah.
Do they respond?
Yes.
I agree. So they have a sensation.
I don't know whether it helps them more or helps me more. So I'll just...
But don't you think when you give them an admiring look, that's very important?
Well, yes. I don't know where the... Well, of course, your potatoes have eyes, but they're underground.
Pat, you are also an ordained Baptist minister, and you were a chaplain over here at Berea College for a period of time. Are you still ministering?
Yeah, I prefer the verb form of minister.
Okay, so you
It's
minister
what
as
you
you
do,
go.
not who you are. And what you do comes from who you are, but I prefer the result more than the name.
Do you consider gardening as a prayer?
Well, I pray a lot in the garden.
So when you're doing the gardening...
Oh, yes, I rejoice at every new bloom, and yeah.
You pray in doing your garden.
Love to watch them mature. And
don't you think that people who do that have better gardens?
I've not checked with a lot of people. I haven't asked that question, but that's a great possibility. I think it makes a better person if they are at peace, and if seeing something grow and develop. I worked for years as a youth minister and as a campus minister, and the great joy was to get a little brat that came in the 6th grade. I got them in the 6th grade, and see them at seniors walk through and get their diploma and see how they go through those difficult. So watching growth is a very spiritually rewarding.
So your plant growth, watching that is part of this.
Well, yeah. I want them to be happy.
We're moving now to the tool section of hers, because really Pat is extremely versatile, and we want to see some of the tools that she uses.
All right, I'm going to move here. This is a truly organic tool. I love to use pine cones. You see how they're anchoring my bean seeds down? But this year, and then I mulched behind this. See, there's just so far I can reach with the grab it to keep the weeds down. So I put newspapers back there and the bamboo shoots on top of that, and then I've got this mulched with the grass when we cut the grass. And this spring, these are very, very special beans that have come down, as I said, down through my family for years. And I planted them along here, and they would disappear. And I couldn't figure out what on earth happened to my beans, so I planted them again. And this time, I figured it out. I had a rabbit that was eating them. The minute they came up, they were eating them.
Oh, they know it.
So I took my pine cones and I put them around each little seedling that came up. And they're sticky things. And so that's how I got my crop of beans for this year.
Okay.
And I used the pine cones to anchor down these, to go up the trellis there. And so...
What are your yellow flowers called?
Those are called 4 o'clock. They come up everywhere. And later in the day they will open out, and then about 4 o'clock they close back up. But it's interesting. Next year, I'm going to plant marigolds in with each of my tomatoes. They have a natural smell that the rabbits don't like, and other varmints, the bugs.
They're sort of
don't
like a pesticide, a natural pesticide. Aren't
So next year, each bean plant will have a marigold.
Oh, that's nice.
Is this your most important tool?
For difficult situations, it's always good to have a handyman. Thank you.
We're looking at the sunroom inside, and we're standing on the porch here, platform, and you do raise some things during the wintertime, you tell me.
Just in the early spring, I plant a couple of kinds of lettuce.
Okay.
In fact, you know, it stays. I don't turn the heat on in there unless it gets below 40 degrees. But because the east sun comes in, it keeps that, and it's a concrete floor in there, and so there is a certain warmth there that you wouldn't ordinarily have. And then in the rest of the summer, these beans will go all the way across up here if we keep training them from where you're standing. So that's why these things.
So you make a trellis, an overhang trellis of beans.
Yeah. And then we can.
That must be in September.
Yeah, and then we can pick them from underneath.
Oh my goodness!
See,
how great!
I can go up in my wheelchair and pick them.
But these are they've been your family beans.
Yes.
And you call them bud beans.
Yes, because bud was the original one that, I mean, that's the family lore. But it was found up in Cedar Mountain, on the mountain just before you drop down into South Carolina. And they started saving them and passing them around in the family, and been there ever since.
It's an heirloom. You grow an heirloom bean.
It really is. Accidentally heirloom. We did.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of them
We didn't
are.
label things like that then. We just look, you know, we traded saved beans, you know, from year to year, seeds. And that was just the mountain way.
Well, that's great. Wonderful. That shows that you have done gardening for a large part of your life. What do you say to people who are now entering their wheelchair era and they've never gardened before? Can you say some things?
Oh, it's so rewarding. Anything that you can do for yourself really helps your self-image.
Don't you think they better start small so they don't get discouraged?
Oh yeah, start with lettuce.
Lettuce, okay.
It's hard to fail with lettuce.
The beans too.
And the beans. And I used to have a bigger garden down there, but this wheelchair didn't accommodate that garden. And I had corn.
Yeah, well, you can't do that too well with it.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was varmints. The raccoons would come up, pull the corn down, not break it off, pull the shucks off, eat every kernel, and then leave it there as an insult to me. To say, we've been here, we want you to see what we've done. So everybody on this hill that tried corn has had this, because we've got this valley down here before the next subdivision. And
so,
we have the coons get up and eat my birdseed. We watch them.
Oh my goodness.
You know, I mean, they're tame.
So you have rabbits, deer, and coons.
And we live in the city.
Do you? I know you live in a city, but do you have squirrels too?
Oh yes, we have squirrels.
And yet you grow a good garden.
Yes.
Do you ever grow onions or any members of that family?
I have onions. I have perennial onions that come up every year.
Okay. Because they don't like the onion family as much as some other things.
Yeah.
Well, you are a good gardener, and we can see it all way, in every way. What is the little instrument you've got right there? We're going to talk a little about tools. Yeah, it opens up like a hand, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And you can pick up stuff, pick up a bean that's dropped.
Yeah. Picked up a snake.
You picked up a snake at one time.
Yes. It was a nice snake.
You like that type, huh?
Yeah, I showed it. I called all the kids around and showed it to them. And then my nephew took it down in the edge of the woods down there and turned it loose.
Okay.
This is what, when I rake grass or got to move things around, I just put a little thing on that and drag it.
Okay.
Did you get that?
Yep.
And you've got tools over there. You've got a hose and rakes and things. Do
Yeah.
you use those too?
This is, see, here's a few things. I took 6 piles of this stuff out the front yard yesterday. Are you getting it?
Mm-hmm.
Then I simply go up like this, and off I go.
All right.
So, for little stuff, and then for your big stuff. And then it locks down like that.
Excellent tool.
It has this narrow blade on it, therefore it's light, and it has the shorter thing on it. See, I can't get that, but so this is my favorite weeder.
So you're able to handle that and taking out weeds.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you can use the side part like a regular hoe, and then this is the digging part.
I like it.
And what do you call this other device you've got here?
I don't know.
A pruning device?
A pruning thingamajig.
So you prune
And
you
I
cut
can
things.
weed and all kinds of things with it. It will do about that, a piece
You
of
can
that
do it
big
almost
around.
1 inch.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
real good.
After that, I have to call on the
Oh
bigger.
yeah, well you have sometimes to get a little too big.
Yeah.
And then you had a scrubber that you actually scrub the tires on when you come in, and you have to go back to the house after a
Yeah.
lot of, look at what she does.
You just put it on there, and you go around and around and around until you get it cleaned off.
So that
You
you
see,
don't
I've
break.
got I've worn the tread off of mine.
So she doesn't want to bring any of the grass clippings into the house. And
They
that-
have their way of getting in, but I'm not going to contribute to it
Well,
if I can help it.
we're back again now at her front yard, and we see some marigolds and petunias and other things that you have. It goes on and on, doesn't it? But you love the flowers as much as you
Yep.
love the vegetables.
Yep.
Well, this has been a great time. I think people will get encouraged,
I hope so.
especially those who say, I have a cousin who says this, my wife is going to have to be in a wheelchair. And I said, well, we have a YouTube that tells her how she can garden.
Right, right.
And she,
And you don't, when something doesn't work, you don't label it as a failure. You label it as, I've learned something.
okay, it's an experience that you.
Yes, and you won't do that the next time, or you'll look at your soil and see if it needs amending.
So you're constantly thinking about what you're going to do better the next time.
Oh, yeah. And I have Warren make pictures of these so I can remember next year what to use and what not to use.
This has been wonderful. We've had a great tour. We didn't get everything. I look out in the yard and there's still other flowers. I see daylilies out there and so forth. But we have seen a lot of your experience being put into action. And I think it will be very great encouragement for those who are also trying to do something and make themselves a little more mobile, but they can do it with a wheelchair, can't they?
And they can see results.
They can see results. Thank you very much, Pat, and we hope that others will be able to learn much from your words.
And if anyone wants to come and visit with me, I can give them a personal tour.
Okay, she's inviting those to come, and we invite you also to the program itself. And this is Al Fridge at earthhealing.info. Tell us your comments. Come and visit Pat in Berea, Kentucky.
Right.